Welcome. I'm John Wesley, the Journeyman Guitarist. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the things. And if you get something out of what you see here today, I have a Patreon channel with some behind-the-scenes stuff and pretty soon some live sessions, so be sure to check that out. What I want to discuss today is a concept I call the blank slate. I'm in the middle of writing for a record. I'm almost done with it. I've got most of the record is on the board. I've got 6 titles up there. I'm looking for 4 more. I've written a lot that didn't make the board, but once they make the board, they're kind of in the groove. They're kind of getting there. So that's where I'm at, but I'm still kind of feeling really creative, and I'm working on some other songs. Well, when I say working on some other songs, I am staring at the blank slate, the blank page, the blank whatever you want to call it. It means I'm trying to create something from nothing. I'm trying to make art. When I say a blank slate, I mean a blank slate. And I know that there are many of you out there that kind of share that blank slate with me. And maybe you've written some songs before, maybe you've done some recordings, maybe you've spent years doing it like me, and you're in that place where you're trying to get fired up to do it again, and you find yourself again staring at the blank page. One of the ways that I get motivated to face that blank slate is to surround myself with the tools and the things that I need to create something out of nothing, to create a song, a set of lyrics, some music out of thin air. So the first thing I do is I set up some guitars that I really love. I set up an amp that I really like. This is my studio, and I'm actually in a tracking phase right now, so I've got pedal boards everywhere. I've got a vocal mic right here that's always plugged in. I've been very fortunate. I've been collecting gear for 30 or 40 years now. So I have a whole recording studio set up, and I have the way I do it is I wire things up to get there easily. But a lot of times, and this is where you can start, I'll walk into the room. I've got a small pedal board attached to a combo amp here, and I just pick up a guitar and I start playing. Like, let's say I'm practicing, and as I'm practicing, I stumble on an idea, and I don't have any of this set up. Well, the first thing I'll do is I will reach for this phone. I will get the memo thing out, and I will record that idea on the memos. All right, so that's really the place to start. Everyone's got a phone these days. Everyone's got a memo program. So if you're stumbling along and you come across a great line in your head, a set of lyrics, a great guitar line while you're practicing, captured on your phone. Now, I'm on a daily basis, whenever I can, which is most days of the week now, working on structured writing sessions. So what I do is I have a setup, and so my setup is on. I got Pro Tools running. I've got a 57, a Shure 57 in front of my little Bad Cat Red Sparkle. It's going into one of my Vintech Neve style mic pre's. These are basically Neve console clones of the 1073 variety. And then that runs into Pro Tools. I also have a vocal mic near me on at all times. I have my favorite guitars. And I have all that, but then what? Well, you just kind of have to sit here and play, because remember, songwriting is hard, and you're creating something out of nothing, and it can kind of look a little bit like this. Okay, so that was me trying to bring something to life out of nothing. I started off, I've got a looper pedal on the end of the chain of my pedal board here, and I just kind of looped an A over and over and over again. And then I started slowly, as you kind of saw in that clip, forming a little something underneath or over top of that that little bass line loop that I set up on my guitar. And it eventually grew into a little melody, and who knows what I'll do with that. But that is like the basis of a song. And where I would go from there is I would actually take that little chunk, figure out the tempo in Pro Tools, re-record it over a click into Pro Tools. And there's a program called Splice, which I will explain and show at a later date and time. But and I'd start going through Splice, figuring out the tempo, and just kind of coming up with seeing if I can find drum loops in Splice that I would use to put underneath it and give it some light. And I would start with that one section. So a lot of you have not been doing this as long as me and don't have as much crap as I do. But I've been doing this a long time, so I'm very fortunate to have put all of this together in a way that it flows. I have a really unique workflow. But if you don't, let's say you've just got a laptop, a guitar, and your amp, and maybe a couple of pedals. Great, you've got enough. Actually, you have pretty much a very similar equivalent to what I just used to put this idea down. And the first thing you could do is you could go out and you could pick up at off of Amazon or Sweetwater or anywhere like that, a little interface. Now this one's a Focusrite Red. This has only got one mic pre because this is one that I carry on the road with me to capture ideas into my laptop when I'm working. I'll carry this little Focusrite Solo with me. I plug it straight in my laptop. I can plug a guitar into it. I can actually pull a guitar plug-in down. Neural has some fantastic guitar plugins. Well, there's a million guitar plugins. And so I will do that. So you don't need all of this. I mean, I'm not going to lie, it's fun to have, but it took me a long time and most of my paychecks from every gig I ever did to acquire all this. So anyway, so start with something like this, a little interface. You can get them off Amazon. I would go for the one with 2 inputs. This is more of a travel one, but it's a little Focusrite Red. And there's many kinds out there. UA is doing a spectacular line of mic interfaces. And so that way you can get your guitar and your vocals into your computer to start capturing ideas. The other way to do it is I always take a Quad Cortex out on the road with me. When I can have that in my hotel room, you can also use this as an interface. This will, you can use this as an interface to get into your software as well. I haven't figured that part out yet because I use it pretty much as a gigging piece, but I wanted to put this out there because a lot of you guys have modelers now. And if you check and you do a deep dive into your modeler, chances are you already have an interface. Now, that's not going to work really great for vocals and stuff like that, but for capturing instrumental ideas, that's going to be a great thing. So when you're facing the beginning of the process, and that's what we're really talking about here, we are talking about the blank slate, the blank page, trying to come up with fairy dust out of nothing. The only way that happens is to put all this together, get it ready to go, and then sit here. Sit here, put your hands on the guitars, keyboards, whatever you use, singing. Michael Jackson used to sing everything. He used to just hear parts in his head and he would sing the parts to the instrumentalists in the band because he didn't really play an instrument that well. So, I mean, there's a million ways to get those ideas down. But the only way that it really ever happens is you got to start. You got to sit in the seat. You got to face the blank slate. Put something on it. Hate it. Move on. Put something else on it. I hate that. Move on. Put something else on it. Ooh, there's a little sparkle of something in there. Grab it. Capture it. Listen to it. Play it over and over again. Evolve it and start the process. So anyway, I hope that helped. I'm going to do more of these as we go along. It's a series. Like I said, right now is a time period that I'm putting a new album together. So I am in this process. This guitar and me are sitting here right now just because I am facing and coping with and dealing with and trying to fill out the blank slate. John Wesley, the Journeyman Guitarist. Next time.